message I got was to start meditating an hour every day again. And I tried that, and I could only make it about a half hour, and I started kind of wigging out and judging everything. And I'm still kind of getting over this cold, so it's all right. But I brought it down to like a half hour in the morning, a half hour in the evening, and it's really made a huge change. And what's different with my meditation practice now is, and I'm learning before I get into that, what I'm actually doing. What I discovered years ago when I used to meditate for hours and hours and hours was what's called a cult meditation. And basically it's the surrender to all things, surrendering your personal mind to connect with the cosmic mind, the mind of God, essentially, the universe, oneness. So this is where like the feelings of enlightenment or connected with all things come in. And then it starts, and then our personal mind starts up again. And so the discipline in this practice is to get to that state as often as possible in meditation, and then to like maintain it throughout the day and bring it in whenever possible. And I've been doing that my whole life, and that's what's kind of saved me, from when I had all these addiction issues and various kinds. And a mind that's just really powerful and unstable and always kind of chattering, and it gets pretty dark, and it has some weird views and beliefs about things. And I kind of understand how the controller beings work, how people manipulate people. All that is in my head too. I was like, oh, I get why that works. Oh, I see what they're doing. And it's like, and part of me gets mad, like, you're not supposed to do that. But the reason I understand that is because I've done that myself, whether in this lifetime or other lifetimes. And so it's just being the witness of it. So in the practice now, more and more I see, and I did this before, but it was more of just a total letting go of everything, like almost just hanging up all the sense perception except for that source connection. And now it's like watching what's there, watching it dance around, feeling it is really crucial too. Like I'm always kind of got this like wall or barrier or shield around me, and I use shielding stuff anyway, but it's like it's always this with me. And I'm pretty sure people feel that, and I know in my relationships, my intimate relationships, has been a lot of that. It's like, oh yeah, I love you, and then, oh, that's enough, stop, no more. And it's like this idea of control. And really, if I just surrender and let it flow in, it comes in, and it can feel overwhelming, but there's this space inside of me that can't ever be crushed or overwhelmed. And that's like the internal sun. That's the our spirit, our essence. And so meditation really helps us connect to that. And that's what that is when you hit that, like that oneness, that flow state, that cosmic mind, you realize that you're connected to everything, and that everything is inside of you. And so that space is inside of all of us, no matter who you are, and it'll never disappear. It's always there. It's like the sun shining. Like right now, it's shining. It'll be shining tonight when it's dark here, but it's just not perceptible to us. And that's part of what incarnation's about, is to like experience these other perceptions, these ways of interacting and being. And that's the value of meditation, is you connect to a cosmic mind, you connect to a wisdom beyond the intellect. And I've been reading up on the hangman in the tarot. That represents like the shaman, like Anubis, like he who has connected to the high priestess inside of them. So man or woman, we can connect to that high priestess, we can connect to that energy of receptivity and feeling the flow of the universe, and being able to like speak it, dance with it, interact with it in a way like a dance partner, versus the power of the intellect, our personal will to do things a certain way, which would be more like the devil card, where it's really about sense pleasure and what do I want, what do I need to feel good, and then chasing that down, which there's value in that too. And that's what's interesting about free will, is like we can either do that or we don't. And so there's really no free will, because after doing that for a while, you're like, oh, this sucks, I don't really like this. I mean, I thought I did, but I'm not happy. And then we come back and we start tuning into the oneness of all things again. And I read recently that that's what success is connecting to that oneness, connecting to that universal mind, and flowing with that state as much as possible, like knowing you are one with all things. And doesn't help pay the bills and everything else, or maybe it does. But that's what I'm exploring these days, is really trying to tune into that more and more, like I did before. And what happened with me is I got to this place. I used to drive cars in Phoenix and chauffeur transportation, and I was kind of a recluse anyway, because I was trying to quit drinking and use drugs and all that stuff when I moved to Phoenix. And so for like 5-6 years while I was there, I just meditated a lot. I read all these books, and I discovered all these things that I was told weren't real, and it's imagination, and it's all not true, and really it's kind of hidden for a reason, because once you set on that path, everything accelerates. Your whole life kind of falls apart in a sense, because anything that's not congruent with our higher self will be stripped away to reveal the truth of who we are. And so I met my teacher, my metaphysics teacher there, and many other teachers since then. And it's always been a thing where I just couldn't quite embrace fully what they were teaching me. I did as far as I could, but then I would see something they weren't seeing, and it wasn't like an ego thing, or maybe it was. But that's the point of this story, is I got to this place of like, oh, I got enlightened. I found it in sitting in my room. I found that enlightenment thing. And then I was working with this energy more and more, but my life wasn't really changing in like the ways I wanted it to. It wasn't like I had a bunch of money coming in, and I didn't have the relationships I wanted, and I started like getting upset and frustrated. And because that power wasn't mine, it's just something to flow and dance with. And in that place, I can perceive a different reality. But I was trying to create a reality I thought was right with that energy, and it quickly disappeared. And I would tell people, like, yeah, you can leave your mind in meditation, and they would say I was wrong. And because they were my teacher, I believed them. But what I realize now is you can't leave the mind, you can't leave the universal mind, but you can leave your personal thinking, your personal mind, and then you connect with everything. And so that's what I'm doing here, to come to nature, because in nature I can let down this energy of needing to keep everything away. I can just embrace it, because here everything is chill and peaceful. And yeah, it's not like where I grew up, where there might be a mountain lion or something around, which is pretty rare anyway, but this is like a place to really relax and let go. And so the two messages from this is, meditation, get in nature, because nature itself is the divine mind, the universal mind in action.